Ahoy, my paisano friends! This is Super RJ here, back again for another movie review. Alright, I'm not going to do that voice throughout the entire video. Since that SpongeBob has turned 25 last year, I think it's time for me to review the second movie, which is also going to turn 10 years old in 2025 as well. If you haven't seen my review of the first movie on my channel's 5th anniversary, I highly recommend you to do so. I remember when I was very excited to see SpongeBob's return to the big screen, and not only that, but Steven Hillenburg, God rest his soul, has returned and helped out with the movie as well. So now that SpongeBob and his friends are out of the 2D ocean and going on a live-action surface land adventure, is Sponge Out of Water still enjoyable as I remember? Well, let's dive in. The movie begins with the main villain, Burger Beard, who finds an old book that tells the story of SpongeBob SquarePants. One day, Plankton attempts to steal the Krabby Patty for the 10 millionth time, but in the fast food war style. Once again, he fails, but it turns out he has a backup plan to disguise his coin to be in Mr. Krabs' safe. SpongeBob was about to stop him, but the formula straight up disappeared right in front of their eyes. Mr. Krabs doesn't believe what Plankton said and sees that SpongeBob helps him escape, which leads to the whole Bikini Bomb turning into Apocalypse without any Krabby Patties. After finding out that Krabby Patties are being made in the surface world, SpongeBob and his friends must journey to the surface world to bring back the formula. So right off the bat, the idea of SpongeBob having adventures in the human land is something that we always wanted in the series. Yes, there have been live action stuff that happens in the show, but it's only been used as a gag or part of the plot, which is one of my favorite things in SpongeBob. Sadly, for a movie that's called Sponge Out of Water, the characters didn't get to go to the surface until the third act. I know that's pretty dumb since the trailers made it look like it's going to be a big deal, and the reason why they hyped this up is because the MCU wasn't big at the time, so Nickelodeon wanted to do their own kid-friendly style of the Avengers movies, but with SpongeBob characters. Not only that, but we already know all the live action scenes thanks to the trailers, so there's really not going to be much excitement. But, in my opinion, I'm actually okay with that. I know that sounds strange, but to be honest, aside from the hero stuff, what else can SpongeBob and his friends do when they go to the surface? Plus, Nickelodeon doesn't have the same high quality budget level as any major animation studio, so I kinda don't blame them for not giving us what we expected. Despite the main problem, the movie itself is pretty entertaining for being one thing, being exactly what SpongeBob is from the classic era. Even though the surface land journey is part of the build-up, it focuses more on the importance of teamwork, and I think they did a decent job of using that lesson in a way that kids could understand. From Plankton learning about teamwork and experiencing it for the first time, and the rest of the characters working together to take down Burger Beard. The movie also reuses a couple of plot elements from past episodes. Aside from the main idea of SpongeBob and company going to the surface, which happens a couple of times as a gag, and in the episode Pressure, SpongeBob and Plankton interact with each other had happened before in Fun, the characters being superhero was done in Merry Man and Barnacle Boy 5, heck, even the plot about the formula being stolen and Bikini Bottom ending up in ruins has happened before in the first movie. Everyone knows that whenever a show that goes on for too long and keeps recycling past episodes, you have to make them fresh and interesting and not be the exact same thing that we've seen before. This movie did it the right way and doesn't feel like I watched the same thing before with fewer differences. The humor in this movie is very funny, almost as much as the classic SpongeBob comedy, with no overlong gags, stretch out jokes, disgusting detailed gross-ups, or even wacky faces. Just some good old well-written jokes with funny visual gags.
Oh, Frank. Feels so good.
The action scenes is a lot of fun, and it is the highlight of the movie. They all have pretty cool powers like Mr. Krabs' robotic gears, Sandy doing her squirrel traits with a bit of mix of karate, and Squidward, well, they don't call his superhero name Sour Notes for nothing. Before the full CG SpongeBob movies, it's debatable to find which of these two movies has the best animation. To me, I think the second one has better visuals. The 2D parts of the movie have brighter colors, more details, and actual shading and lighting. You can tell that they have more of a budget for the animation, which is something that the network is capable of using whenever they want to release their movies on the big screen. When the characters went to the surface, the CGI was basic, but when they turned to superheroes, it was the highlight of the animation. The character designs and the costumes really match their personality and likeness. Like Plankton is big and strong, which is something Plankton sometimes wishes he could be 10 times his size, and Sandy as a real-life giant squirrel is not only the best choice for her powers, but it's also the funniest joke in the movie. And if some of you are wondering why a CGI real-life encounter of a squirrel, well, if you know SpongeBob comedy as much as I do, especially when it comes to Sandy, then you know why. The special effects are also good, as they do blend into the real world. If any 2D animated show can transition from 2D to 3D, SpongeBob knows how to do it right. If you remember the first post-movie era of SpongeBob, the characters have become more flannerization versions of their personality. But this movie actually brought back their original personality that we all know and love. In my review of the first movie, I said that one of the problems is that the rest of the characters like Sandy, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs are barely in the movie. It only focuses on SpongeBob and Patrick, which does make sense with the main idea and the message of the first movie, where SpongeBob and Patrick go on a quest to prove to everyone that even though they are kids, they can still do anything and don't have to be a man to prove it. Well, in this movie, almost all the main characters we know get a chance to shine, and they have their likable personality that everyone remembers. None of them come across as ignorant, completely stupid, and especially treated unfairly all the time. As for the new characters, there's only one that I find enjoyable, but I'll get to him in a minute. There are these comic relief seagulls where they're like the seagulls from Finding Nemo, except that they talk normally and kind of annoying. They don't really serve a purpose into the story other than commenting on Burger Beard and his evil deeds. The scene with Bubbles, the 1,000-year-old dolphin god, is the one part of this movie I didn't like. It's like this character is the only idea that the writers come up with to get the main characters to the surface. And then there's Burger Beard, who secretly stole the Krabby Patty formula to make and sell them as his own food truck business. He is the best character in the movie. He may not be as diabolical as Plankton, but he's the fun kind of bad guy that you want to hang out with. Antonio Banderas does an amazing performance, and you can tell that he had a lot of fun playing the character. Imagine if he reprised his role of Puss in Boots, but Puss is a human pirate and not a hero. There is one downside with this character, is that they didn't give us a reason why he wants the formula. There's a deleted scene on the Blu-ray where it tells his backstory where as a kid he wanted to be a fry cook, but other pirates laugh at him for that reason. I wish that they kept that scene in the movie, but I also wish they could have expanded it a bit more. Like maybe he spent years trying to be the greatest fry cook in pirates history, but he still sucks at it, so he sails the seas on his own to find a way to become the ultimate fry cook. That would have made him a bit more diabolical. Plus, you can remove the seagulls and give him a bit of a crew who actually appreciate his cooking. Another issue that I have is this magical book thing. They never explain where they came from and why it has a story around SpongeBob and his world, how does Burger Beard knows about it, and you can use it to rewrite the story to change what happens. Again, Nickelodeon is not a major studio, and they don't have a lot to bring to the table, but it still raises a lot of questions. Overall, the SpongeBob movie Sponge Out of Water is an enjoyable flick with a solid story, great animation, a fun superhero action adventure for the kids, and it brought back what made SpongeBob special. While they didn't give exactly what people are hyped about and doesn't have any explanation for certain parts of the plot, but those flaws didn't bring the movie down. It's definitely not better than the first one, but if it weren't for this movie, then Hillenburg wouldn't have returned to Bikini Bottom and given his creation a great comeback, and bring the show back its original charm. If you still prefer the classic seasons and the first film, you should watch this one if you're in the mood to watch SpongeBob, which you truly grew up with like me. For the rating, I'm giving this the Fireflower medal. All there is left to say is, happy belated 25th anniversary SpongeBob, and happy 10th anniversary to this movie. And it's great to revisit this standalone follow-up in a long time. So what's the next film for me to review? Oh, crap. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked this review, then be sure to give this video a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to check out this channel where I review animation media, do casual gaming, and fan-made animation that I'm currently working on. Obviously, the next movie I'm reviewing is where we head back to the ocean with a familiar wayfinder who's on a last-minute big screen adventure. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.